Welcome back to another episode of Bullshit in Video Games. We're here with Kolbe and our special guest for today. Why don't you say hello?
Hello. You just yeah.
Why don't you describe to people what shirt you're wearing? It's a pretty kick-ass shirt.
Oh my! I have a T-shirt here. It's all combined of different comic books. I don't know why I'm looking at the microphone acting like
the microphone is looking at you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like
it looks like a microphone, but I got it directly from the CIA.
Yeah, but anyways,
it's also looking at you. It also took a DNA sample as you entered the room and jacked you off real quick. You just didn't notice it. This is high level CIA stuff.
Seems like I'm getting desensitized because I didn't even feel that.
You didn't even feel it, man. Yeah, you should have kept your foreskin.
Need to relax on that masturbation.
The furious masturbation. Start using lube.
But anyways, this T-shirt, this got Captain America, got Iron Man, all built of different comic books.
Yeah. So you actually read the comics?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have so many comics.
You got comics with you right now?
I have. That's the only reason why I have a tablet is just to read comics, because this is the perfect comic book reader.
Damn.
And I'm probably one of the few people in China who actually pays to read
for
comic books. Yeah.
So you're about the payment model. You're happy to support the comic creators.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I wouldn't argue against that at all. There are some comics I read for free. Just because,
are they pretty cheap? How much does a comic cost nowadays in this economy?
Yeah, it's actually fairly expensive.
Shit.
Average price right now $3.99 for one comic.
And how big is a comic?
About 32 pages.
Okay, so you read it,
but maybe 22 pages of story.
Okay,
so
there's a lot of pictures.
Yeah. Or the pictures is the story and the dialogue, but there's also advertisements.
Oh, really? I didn't know there's advertisements.
Yeah, so if you buy, that's actually where they get a lot of their revenue, or how they keep it that cheap. Yeah, so they have the revenue, they have the advertisements, kind of keep the costs down, and then they sell it as well, so they get some of the
Is it mingled in?
Mm-hmm.
So you might get to a really exciting part of the comic book and then turn the page into fucking Sony advertisement?
Yep, or a lot of them, if you read, I think it's really cool.
Fleshlight?
No! What is this? I probably do need Wi-Fi for some of this, but these are ones I have actually two apps. One is the Marvel Unlimited app.
Oh shit!
Spent $70 on this for 1 year, and you can read
unlimited
all comics from 1939, the very first comic.
Since you paid the unlimited plan, the Ultra Supreme Galactic Conquest plan, do you still have ads in them?
No,
it's ad free.
Yeah,
oh
it's ad
shit!
Free. Yeah, all that is ad free. Yeah. It's cool, but also I wish I had the option to put ads on, because it's really nice to see the old ads.
Oh, okay.
When I read, say, a comic from the 90s or even early 2000s, I see a Michael Jordan Got Milk ad, and I feel very nostalgic. I was or I see Surge. Or is it? Oh, is that it? What was that drink?
The Surge,
the Surge. I see an advertisement for that. I was like, it's my childhood.
Back in the days when you could buy heroin at CVS.
These are the ones I downloaded. You're able to download 12 comics at one time.
Okay,
on this.
Damn.
Thanos.
This looks pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. So,
oh man, comic books seems like a rabbit hole I would get into.
Oh yeah, it definitely is a rabbit hole. So I've been trying to reread the Thor comics.
Okay.
It's about maybe 8 years of Thor comics, because right now they have War of the Realms. There's this whole story building up to War of the Realms, and really all I wanted to do was read the Thor comics, start to finish. Yeah, sure, it's a lot, maybe over 60 issues, but not so bad, not terrible, not crazy.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started that, it took me 6 months to read all that, and that's me reading 10 comics a day.
Jesus.
Or maybe not 10 comics, but at least I was reading at least
multiple
40 comics a month or something, or not a week. Yeah, what am I saying? Reading all these comics just because I would read. Okay, I'm going to read Thor: God of Thunder 1 through 6, and then there's a tie-in with Spider-Man. He's Angela. They reveal that Angela is. I know this is spoilers, but
spoilers.
It's originally, then there's 9 realms, but they revealed now there's a 10th realm, the Angel realm, and Angela is actually Thor's sister, who was kidnapped by the angels, but now she was raised by the angels, who hates Thor and hates Asgard and everything they're against and all this stuff. So I was ooh, maybe I should read her story as well, which is also maybe another 20 issues. And then I go, and then I'm now I have to read this event. I have to read Secret Origins or Original Sin. I'm gotta read Original Sin only maybe 8 issues, but there's also like other tie-ins that makes it like 40 issues as well.
Damn.
So it really is like a rabbit hole.
Yeah. So do they feel like they come together into like a continuous novel?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like there's been stories. So I read one story called Infinity, which is like the newer Thanos story. And the first time I read that Infinity storyline plus like some tie-ins, not all of them, but like say like one Avengers tie-in. I think a Spider-Man tie-in, maybe a Thor. They had it, but anyways, read a few of them. But now since I have like the Marvel Unlimited app, I'm able to see all the tie-ins. So I like reread them all, which is I think 60 issues or something like that. But like it was definitely more epic this time. Like the first time I read it, I'm like, it's kind of cool. But like I read everything building up to it, which I guess if you count the build up as well, it's also like another 20 issues. So now like instead of like my original plan was like, or like what I read maybe 5 years ago when it first came out, I read like maybe 15 issues. Now with this app, I'm reading like 80, 100 issues just to read one story. But it is very epic.
Yeah, it does sound really epic. So that answers one of my questions. I was going to ask, like, what is the depth of the stories? Because comic books, to the uninitiated, they seem like a shallow story because, you know, it's only a few pages and almost every page is like all a picture. There's little dialogue, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. It always depends on who writes it.
Like, how much of your time do you spend just looking at the picture versus reading something?
It really depends on the artist. Because some artists...
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a scribble.
Yeah.
It's like some...
just a stick figure.
Yeah.
There's like an arrow pointing to it that says Tony Stark.
Like, don't get mad at me, the guy who wrote Winter Soldier or drew that, but...
Yeah. But the story's good, though, right?
Yeah, the story quite good.
Okay.
But, like, maybe the art, it is much better than what I can do.
To be desired.
But, yeah.
Okay.
I know this is very interesting for people listening to a podcast.
Yeah. So we're looking at the Winter Soldier comic book right now. And so you consider this bad drawing?
Like this, I figured.
Wow, this app is pretty kick-ass right now.
But like,
I'm into this app.
It's
right
like
now.
this is like, what is that? Like, okay, maybe that's.
It looks like a draft.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like a sketch, like a loose
not
sketch.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff is very good. Like you can tell.
Damn, this app is amazing.
The first few pages, very very nice. Like that, I think beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
This, I think, all very beautiful. And
like,
then
the dead parents.
And then
stuff.
you can tell, like this guy, probably Marvel was like, we have to get this done tomorrow. So he's like, oh shoot, I still have 10 pages left. Okay, scribble. Throw some color in there. Scribble.
Man, this app is epic because like you can go into like individual picture.
Oh yeah.
And does it matter what way you scroll? No.
Yeah, there's just
like. Damn, this is pretty epic. Man, you're getting me into fucking comic books now.
Do it.
So like there's a YouTube channel that I subscribe to called Comics Explained. Do you know that one?
I've listened. Yeah, I never subscribed to it, but I think I've listened.
So that's where I get all my comic information because he'll go through like a whole story arc and then he'll make like a 20-minute video explaining what happened in the story, and he's like super excited about it.
Do you remember any arcs?
He's nerding so hard. I listen. I remember a lot of them. I listen to a lot of them, and one of my favorite arcs is don't remember the name of it, but let's see if you recognize it. The evil villains mind control Wolverine, and they use him to kill the other X-Men, and then they use him to kill a bunch of the Avengers, and then he breaks out of the mind control and kills the supervillains.
Oh, you talk about Old Man Logan?
Probably.
Maybe.
And then like a huge amount of time goes by, and all the other people die of old age, and Bruce Banner dies of old age, so it's just the Hulk. And then he goes and fights the Hulk, and the Hulk bites his head off and eats him, and then he cuts his way out of the Hulk. He reanimates or whatever. That's just a fucking epic story. Don't you think that what do you call these stories that are not part of the main Marvel universe? What's the word for
Usually
that?
They say like non-canon
or
like alternate universe.
Yeah. So don't you think that the alternate universe stories are not only extremely interesting, but Disney, since they control Marvel now, couldn't they just start making an endless series of alternate universe movies, these spin-off movies, and they just advertise them as alternate universe, and it doesn't even matter if they do well or they flop, because they're completely disconnected from the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, I actually think that's what they're planning right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you've seen Endgame?
Yeah.
Okay, so how with time travel, their way of time travel different than Back to the Future, different than these other ones where it's like, okay, we're all in one universe. What you do, there's a butterfly effect.
Yeah, it changes.
What you do in the past, and then it changes. But how they explain it, where it's like, okay, what you do, if you change it, your timeline stays the same. But now you just got, you got different multiverses and whatnot. And I think what they will do is like they could have, maybe not the movies, but I think they will do TV shows. So like I don't think they announced it, but have you ever seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, great show.
Yeah, like that just came back, but I think what they're going to do with that, I think they're just going to reveal like, okay, the MCU, this is like the 616 universe. That's like the main universe in the comics. Yeah. So that's like the main universe. And then maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's just a multiverse. That's like another one.
Different.
And then,
and then they can do some crazy shit with that, right?
Have you seen the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer?
Far From Home? No, is that the new one?
That's the new one.
Okay.
So actually in that, spoiler, but Mysterio, they like revealed, even though, Mysterio, he's just like a BSer. So
who is Mysterio?
Mysterio, he is, I believe he used to be a magician, but like he's a guy, he had the fishbowl head.
Okay, sounds familiar.
Yeah, fishbowl head, green costume, cape, and he can do a bunch of illusions and whatnot. Okay. But in this trailer, they're showing that, okay, he is maybe a hero. He's going to team up with Spider-Man. But Nick Fury also revealed that this guy is from a different universe. Which, again, it could be BS, but they're kind of confirming.
Is Mysterio, like, classically a bad guy?
Yeah. So he's always like...
So if he's a good guy in this one, it's probably from a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of theories out there. So, like, one theory is, like, one, he's either just making up the whole multiverse thing. Like, he's just, like, wants some kind of shtick to make him famous. Two, he could be, like, from a different universe. And this is what my guess is that he was a villain in a different universe. And then he realized that didn't work out for him. And then with the whole thing with Endgame and whatnot, and maybe with his powers, he was able to come to our universe and be like, all right, I got a fresh new start. I'm going to be the hero.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Or, in the trailers, they show they have like Molten Man and like Hydro Man, like they're fighting all these people. Mm-hmm. And I think this is just like Mysterio's illusions. He's probably creating this just to make him seem like a hero, where in reality, he probably has some other plan like, oh, I'm still in Vancouver, I'm doing this. Like, while he's fighting like creatures that he created himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he sets himself up to be a hero, kind of.
Yeah, that's just my guess. Yeah,
I like that idea. Did you like Spider-Man enter Spideyverse?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
I thought that was amazing. I thought the animation style was fucking amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to see more movies done like that. Mm-hmm. I thought the story was pretty good, but I couldn't get over how awesome the animation was.
I can't remember the exact like data of what they said, but like NPR, they did a whole special on this, talking about like how they created the Spider-Verse and just comparison to other movies, say other animation. I think they said typically you have like 400 animators, and maybe those 400 animators, they can do 2 seconds, 3 seconds in a day, something like that. Slow. But with like Spider-Verse, they had like way more animators, and they could only do 1 second per day. Where I was like, dang,
it's nuts. This is a little bit of a digression, but I just watched a YouTube video the other day that was talking about how they're trying to use AI to automate a lot of the animation process, and so that might speed things up dramatically in the future. Because I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I always had the assumption that animation was a quick thing. It was faster than doing like real life filming. But that's not the case apparently.
Yeah, actually,
it's
not
way
at all.
slower.
Yeah.
So
there's another something like that. Like all of those are like they're always like 4 years, 5 years
with thousands of people animating. Yeah.
I think like the drawing part of it, those animators can do it so fast, but they just need so many different changes of like it's like all the actions,
probably
and
like
then
thousands of different drawings in each scene, each movement. Man, it has even CGI work. Like, how does it work? Yeah. Like, is it when we're watching CGI of the Hulk? Is that like a 3-dimensional object that someone rendered, and then the object is moving in a combination of real and fake space?
Yeah, but I think it's like a little combination of everything. So typically they have Mark Ruffalo he's in that
bodysuit.
That bodysuit, yeah.
And he has like extended limbs or whatever, and like a thing going up over his back.
So he acts all that out. Yeah. Actually, in the new Detective Pikachu movie, I guess like Ryan Reynolds, he also wore that suit as well, and then they just like
how does that even make sense?
I don't know, but like they wanted to do it just so they get his like facial expressions, his movements, and all that. But Detective Pikachu, I love
that was a great movie. I don't understand people hating on it.
They're
people, haters. People didn't grow up with Pokemon, probably. But some of the other stories that I love is, did you read the story of the Marquis of Death?
I don't think so.
So I'm going to butcher it because it was one of Comics Explain's longest stories. I've listened to it a couple times now, but it was like a 30 or 40 minute video, so it's really hard to follow it all. And it's a complicated story. It's this guy who like blinks into the 616 universe. He's a multi-universal being, and he's just obliterating shit. He's like going from universe to universe, killing everything, like killing the Living Tribunal, killing like Infinity and all these characters, and of course he goes to Earth and obliterates everybody, no problem. But spoilers for you, sorry if, but he like meets Dr. Doom, and I guess Dr. Doom becomes his apprentice or something like that. I'm butchering the story here. I really don't know.
It's all right.
I really don't know it.
I'll read it eventually.
But like, Dr. Doom like becomes his apprentice, and he like he makes him immortal, I think. And then maybe he leaves and comes back after a really, really long time, and Dr. Doom controls the Earth because he became more powerful after the Marquis of Death taught him some things. And when he comes back, the Marquis of Death is actually really disappointed in him that he hasn't destroyed the whole universe already. He hasn't become like a universal being. He's still just trying to conquer the Earth. And he's so disappointed in him that he takes Dr. Doom and sends him back 65 million years through time and just tosses him through a portal into the dinosaur times. And Dr. Doom then spends the next 65 million years working on making his magic more powerful and whatnot. And then when he comes all the way back to the 616 continuity timeline, he tricks the Marquis of Death or something like that. I at this point, I don't even know where to take the story because I don't remember. The point is that Dr. Doom becomes the Marquis of Death to kill the Marquis of Death. It's this whole time travel nonsense, but it's a fucking great story. Something like that would make a great R-rated, dark, really dark Marvel movie. Also, World Breaker Hulk.
Yeah.
Great.
World Hulk, one? Yeah.
That would make a great R-rated Hulk movie.
Do you know the whole setup for that?
He gets sent to another planet because he's too dangerous, right? The Illuminati sent him off. And then when he gets there, he makes a whole life for himself. But the Illuminati planted a bomb on his ship, and one of his lieutenants doesn't like him, and so they set the bomb off, and it kills his wife and kids, right? And then he comes back on a rampage, and he fucks up everybody. And
I think they revealed after it wasn't actually the Illuminati who put the bomb. It was like a different alien race on that planet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he thought it has to be.
It
has to be those guys. And he just comes back and just beats. It's all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, he beats Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange absorbs a demon or something like that. He becomes super powerful. Yeah. And then he sort of beats the Hulk, but then the Hulk pretends to be Bruce Banner. And when Doctor Strange gets close to him, he grabs him and crushes both of his hands, so he can't cast magic anymore. Man, those stories are so good. They would be such successful standalones.
I think at the end of that, they revealed he had a son as well.
Yeah.
Scar.
And died? Didn't he die?
No, he's still alive. He was the only one who survived. Yeah.
He's gonna fuck shit up. What do you think the difference is between reading it on the e-reader versus reading a physical comic? Do you miss the physical comics?
Yeah, it's I think both have their benefits. Me, I still prefer the physical comic because one, I just like the feel of paper.
Yeah.
Same thing with books. I prefer books. I just like the feel of that paper. I do like seeing the advertisements. I know that's weird, but it's it's nice to see the advertisements. And it's also, with a lot of these, the one thing I kind of miss, they're not really persistent with say the notes at the end or the letters. People, they write letters and then the editor will respond to them. They're saying, "Oh, issue number 5 was great, but I thought Thor was going to do this instead." And then like the editor would be like, "He's like, well, that's a good idea, but that's not really Thor's personality." It's like, yeah, so some of them they'll put that in, but like a lot of them for the digital ones they just leave them out. Where I was like,
what do you think?
Not really sure. Maybe I think with like the unlimited, I think a lot of people they just want to read the stories.
Okay.
Because I think maybe people like a nerd like myself. Yeah. I don't know. I like seeing all like what people are thinking. Like it was like, what are their
that sounds
like,
good.
I guess it's like what are they guessing or what are their feelings about this compared to what I'm feeling.
It's like super old school YouTube comments.
So like that's one thing I like about like the physical comic. But one thing I do like about this a lot is that I'm more surprised. Like I'm more emotionally attached when I read it through a tablet.
Why? What do you think?
The reason is usually when I pick up a comic, first thing I do
skip right to the end.
I just flip through it. I just like just flip through it, and all of a sudden I already see like I was like, oh, this guy got his head cut off. I'm like, oh, Thanos, yeah, he died. Oh, this guy, yeah. He's like, oh, they revealed Captain America's Hydra.
I didn't think about that.
All that, but like this one, like. Yeah, I don't really flip through it, so I just go like panel to panel to panel. Because even if I don't flip through a comic, say for example, on a piece of paper or like on one page, like maybe the reveal that like one person is dead, or I'm the father, or whatever the reveal is, like it will happen at the bottom of the page, and your eyes already like kind of
jump down there,
so it's like, oh shoot, I still have like 8 other panels to read before I get there. So it's like you kind of lose that like effect. So
that's a good point.
For me, it's like I think if I were to read a comic for the first time, I would prefer reading it on the tablet, and then like after, if I'm going to reread, so say for example,
you'd want the archive to be physical, physical paper copies. That's a good point.
That's interesting. Because usually, actually, I will read comics at least like twice within the year, because every comic they come out like once a month. So like say like Thor once a month, next month. And then usually one story arc is like 6 issues. So like as soon as like issue 6 comes out, I read that, and then I'll just reread the whole like arc because sometimes like the issue by itself maybe not that good. But like within like the whole arc, you're like, oh wow, actually, now it makes sense. Now like the pacing is a lot better. And sometimes it's the opposite. Like one issue is very good, and then you realize like, dang, this arc, it just sucks.
Damn. What's your favorite story that you've read so far? Like, I'll ask you favorite in the 616 continuity and favorite alternate universe one.
Recently, so many stories. But recently, really is Thor, like Jason Aaron's Thor, because they just did a whole journey of Thor. So it's like, first they had a storyline where they like simultaneously told stories of like original like Norse mythology Thor, like when he was young before he was worthy, current Thor when he's worthy, and like super old Thor when he's like the last being in the universe. And
does he really live that long?
Oh yeah, at least in these comics and whatnot. And like they're like simultaneously telling all these 3 separate stories. And at first I'm like, this is cool, but like why are you having 3 separate stories? But at one point they kind of like converge. Like within this, there's like the main villain called, I think his name, or the God Butcher. Of course. Like he like his planet, he was like praying for people or praying for rain because like his planet didn't have rain, people were starving, dying, and then they're all praying to the gods, never comes, so he's just bitter towards the god. He hates all gods. And then this like black
MacGuffin.
Something MacGuffin pretty much is just like this material or whatever. It's like something that's able to kill gods like connects to him, so he becomes like the God Butcher. And he's like he goes all around the world, and like I guess he's been doing this for like centuries, but he's been doing it in secret. And like one day Thor just like sees like, wait, he's like place, and he like found these gods all like cut up and whatnot. He's like, how did this happen? And then he starts going to like the records, like the records of the universe, and he's like, has anyone seen these gods for a while? And he's like looking through all through these books, and you realize like, wait, he's like, no one's have talked to these people at all. So he starts searching.
They need Instagram.
And then, like, he finds, like, yeah, they need Instagram, all that. Yeah,
keep
no social media
up to date with
that.
each other.
Yeah. And then he finds they're all dead. He's like, why the heck are they killing? And then, or why are they dead? Yeah. And he finds out, oh, it's this or the guy butcher. And he has all these, like, monologues saying, gods are nothing. He's like, the human race, the people, they don't need gods. They're arrogant.
So was he a human? Gore?
No, he wasn't human.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was just on Earth. And I think maybe I just said human. Arrogant. Yeah.
But he was like some badass alien.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, there's this whole story that's like 25 issues. Yeah. And anyways, the next like big event for Marvel, they had a whole thing called Original Sin. And this is when like Nick Fury, he killed the Watcher. Which the Watcher, this is the guy who, big head, he just watches everything. He knows everything in like the world. The storyline, like, if you think too much about it, it doesn't really make sense. Like, because Nick Fury, he, like, killed the Watcher and stole his eye, and now, since he has his eye, he can, like, see everything and knows everything in the universe.
It's good enough for me.
Where it's like, okay, yeah. Sure. I'm like, okay, that eye has all the knowledge in the universe. But anyways.
It's like Heimdall's eye.
Yeah, like, in that, oh yeah, exactly, but I think more powerful. Heimdall can only see, but he can't.
Yes.
Doesn't know people's secrets.
Yeah.
But this one knows everything.
Heimdall seems to only see when it's plot convenient.
Yep, exactly, yeah. Especially in the MCU.
Yeah.
But anyways, with this, he was like revealing a whole bunch of secrets. Like just like the Illuminati, this was later. They had to destroy a world, but Captain America wasn't having it. So Tony Stark is just like, alright, Strange, do it. He did it, and he's like, he erased Captain America's mind just for that point of time. So he's like, okay, you're not part of the Illuminati anymore. We're going to have to destroy this world.
So Illuminati are straight up evil.
Kind of like, yeah, it's like they're willing to do evil things. Yeah, but
sort of justifiable, questionably.
But they didn't actually destroy the world. They got lucky. They kept on getting lucky because like either someone else did it, or it's like oh, we don't have to do it this time. Yeah, it's like some other thing. But anyways, during that, such like a bastard move of Marvel and the writers doing this, but like Nick Fury, he like whispered into Thor's ear, and then like as soon as he did that, his hammer just dropped from his hand and he wasn't worthy anymore. Yeah. And then it took him like 4 years or something. Maybe, I can't remember, but I think at least like 3 or 4 years until they revealed what he said to Thor. It's like, why is he unworthy?
3 or 4 real years? In real life?
real years, yeah.
That's brutal.
Like why, like what did he say? And they finally revealed, like, I think all he said was like, Gore was right. And then, like, that was it. I was like, dang.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. So it's just saying, like, yeah, the universe doesn't need gods. Yeah. And, like, during this time, he also got his arm chopped off.
Thor?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit. By who?
Yeah.
Gore?
No, he got chopped off by Malekith. Like, Malekith. Do you remember
He's
Thor, the Dark World?
Yeah, he's the guy that had him chained up in the beginning. He's the fire guy?
No. This is, like, the second movie. He's, like, the elf.
Okay.
Like, in the movies, not that good. But in the comics, he's, like, very cool. Yeah. Like, he's mixed between... He's, like, Joker. Pretty much, like, Thor's Joker. Okay. Because, like, he's funny. He's just, like, crazy. But he's, like, more logical, in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's pretty powerful. He can chop off Thor's arm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just, like, sneaky. He has a lot of magic and whatnot. But he's the one who's, like, for the realms. He wants to take over all the 10 realms.
What did you think about Captain America becoming worthy and picking up the hammer?
Oh, I've been guessing that for a long time. Like, there was like 2 things that I was saying, like, they have to do it before like he retires or dies. I'm like, 1, he has to pick up Mjolnir. 2, he has to say like Avengers Assemble. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as he says or like does those 2 things, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And like, I was the only one. It was funny when I went to go see it. I saw it in IMAX with like the Wuhan Marvel fan club. Yeah. But like, I was cheering before.
I was with them for Infinity Wars.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, nice. Like, where was it in here? not John Honolulu, but somewhere around
one
there.
of the big theaters.
Yeah, But it was like funny because like I was seeing like all the setups, and like as soon as like Thor, he had those 2 hammers, and one of them dropped. I was like, yes! But like no one else was doing that. I was like, and I'm thinking like, you guys don't understand. You don't understand what's going to happen. Yeah, it's like, and as soon as I see that hand picking, I'm like. And I'm looking around, I'm like, you guys don't understand who that is. I'm like, and then finally they revealed it, and everyone's like, whoa!
Fuck yeah. That was awesome.
I was like very happy I was able to see it with a crowd who like cheered in like appropriate ways. Weren't on their phones. Like nobody was on their phones. This is my first time in China that no one was on their phones. Mm-hmm. Talking with other friends, they're saying, people behind them, around them, were just ruining the movie.
I got lucky. There's no loud people around me. No phone lights in my face, and people cheered when he picked up the hammer. Yeah, too. Nice. People were fucking screaming when Tony Stark died.
Oh yeah,
people were really upset.
The one girl next to me, she was bawling hard. Yeah, she was. Whew. Yeah. Did you cry at all during the movie?
The entire time.
Yeah. It was funny actually. Like things that like got me the most was like when Thor was talking to his mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where he's like, you've been through a lot. I'm like, it seems like me and my mom. He's like, yeah, go back home. He's like, you seem different. You look tired. Yeah. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah. I feel you, Thor.
Yeah.
We're right there with you, bud. Mm-hmm. Sitting on the couch, getting fatter and fatter, playing video games.
Yeah. Afterwards, I did mess with my dad. I'm like, he asked me how it was. I was like, you'll be happy you got the body of Thor now. Dude,
did you see how his beard braided?
Oh yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite scenes when like he sees Thanos and suddenly he gets serious for the first time in the movie and just wants revenge. Yeah. And he calls both both weapons at the same time. Yeah. Fucking epic.
I'm like glad they like kept him like fat.
Yeah.
As well because like I would have been kind of upset if they like he grabbed the hammers and then he just had like abs and whatnot. Yeah. I was like.
I'm glad I stayed fat too. So there's some things that I want to criticize. All right. The number one thing I want to criticize, probably about the whole movie, is when Thor launches the lightning into Iron Man's suit, and Iron Man does this epic blast, and then Thanos does that spinning shit with the sword. What the fuck is that? It's like the helicopter move. What the fuck?
Yeah, you just can't think about it too much.
Yeah, exactly. I immediately had to stop myself and be like, okay, don't think about it too much. Yeah. But other than that, chopping the vibranium, breaking Iron Man's shield, what the fuck is his sword made of? Again, can't think about it too much.
Or you mean Captain America?
Captain America's shield, yeah.
Oh, that was another thing I was waiting for. Because, like, in the comics, that's a big thing as well.
What, his shield gets broken?
Yeah, his shield. Like, there's a whole thing in the comics where it's, like, panel to panel. I think it's in Infinity Gauntlet number 2. Issue number 2. But it's, like, it's only, like, him and Thanos and Captain America fighting, and then he just, like, goes, boom, breaks a piece. Boom, breaks another piece, and then it just shatters.
Breaks it with what, though?
I mean, like, he just uses his fist.
Thanos
is that strong.
Breaks the vibranium shield? Yeah, I thought vibranium was supposed to be indestructible.
Yeah, pretty much, but he has it, like, I think the Infinity
Gauntlet at the time? Okay.
And everything as well. Yeah, he's like, and then, like, Thanos is like, oh my god. Yeah. He's like, you're trying to fight me? And Captain America is all like, as long as one person stands up, as long as one person fights against you. Like, I was hoping they were going to say that in this. Maybe it is a little cheesy, but I was hoping it's like, as long as there's one, or it's like, I can do this all day. One of those lines, I was hoping for that against Thanos, but that was like a pretty epic thing.
So breaking the vibranium shield, it's not uncanon. It doesn't break canon.
Okay,
like, that surprises me. Okay, all right. What about after the battle? Do you think he should have still been worthy? Or should he have to drop the hammer?
Oh, you mean for Thor?
Captain America. Because after the battle, you could still pick up the hammer. Yeah. And in the comics, doesn't the temporary worthiness go away?
Not really. Actually, it's like pretty much whoever's worthy should just be able to pick it up. Like, I always guessed he was going to pick it up ever since Age of Ultron.
Where he moves it a little bit?
Yeah, he moves it because, like, he's like,
I love that scene because Thor like is immediately worried, like, oh,
he's like, oh, his eyes get big and then small. He's like, oh no, this is all I have. I'm like, I'm the guy who's worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
and I love his line in Endgame where he's like, I knew it.
So he can pick it up anytime after that, then?
I think, like, for Captain America, pretty much people who can pick it up, they can do it anytime, but they're worthy. They just have the personality where it's like, I don't have to. Like, Thor, this is your thing. Like, they just have that type of personality where it's like, I will when I have to, but I don't need to.
Because that does happen from time to time in comic books, right? Where, like, it's some epic battle and, like, Thor loses his hammer and someone else picks it up and uses it? Okay. What do you think about him taking the hammer back in time and not bringing it back?
Oh, yeah.
Captain America took the hammer back with him and the stones, but he comes back without the hammer. Yeah. So do you think he returned it to Asgard, or did he leave it somewhere else?
No, I think he had to, because that was the whole point, correct? Where it's like he wanted to keep everything like intact. Where it's like, okay, grab it where it was at that point in time. You just want to keep like everything the same. That whole history.
Okay, that's fair. Also, sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, I was thinking another thing about Thor. I was thinking about Loki. Like, you know how he disappeared? I know we go back to like that multiverse. Do you know about like the new shows they're gonna make for Disney Plus? No. You know what Disney Plus is?
It's like their streaming content?
Yeah, there's their whole streaming content. I think it's gonna start in November.
Nice.
But anyways, Disney Plus, they revealed 4 MCU shows. So like one is Scarlet Witch and Vision, another is Loki, another is Hawkeye, and another is Bucky and Falcon. So I'm guessing maybe the Loki one will just be like an alternate universe of like his adventures of when he disappeared, like with the Cosmic Cube.
Nice.
Then with, I think Captain America, that one, or like with Falcon and Winter Soldier. My guess is that I think Falcon, he's going to be Captain America in that, and then he's going to get a bunch of backlash, because this is pretty much what happens in the comics. Really, the comics, they take a lot from politics and a lot from the world. Because recently, Falcon became Captain America. You know, like Obama, when he was president, a lot of people are like, hashtag not my president. You don't look like my president. Where are you from? You don't look American. Like, things like this. Where, like, in, like, the comics, like, when Falcon became Captain America, it was, like, the same thing.
Hashtag
like,
not my America.
Yeah, like, everyone using, like, social media, they're like, it's like, not my cap. Give back the shield. Hashtag give back the shield. Yeah, you don't look like... Yeah, it was like all this stuff. So it was like very parallel to that. So I'm guessing like probably in the show they will probably do that and be like, okay, give a bunch of crap to like Falcon. Maybe he'll be like, oh, maybe I'm not right for Captain America. America isn't...
He'll have the whole he'll have the whole like worthiness arc, and then he'll come through the end.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what's going to happen, just my guess, I think all this, he's like, yeah, America maybe isn't ready for me as Captain America. So Bucky, here, take it. You be Captain America. He does it for a little bit.
The Russian spy.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, rather have a Russian spy who killed Tony Stark's father.
The Russian spy hitman.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But I think he'll do that, and then at the end, I think Bucky would just be like, no, you are the right Captain America. Falcon, do it. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Just like, I think that whole storyline will just, like, the beginning and ending will just be like the same spot. That's just my guess,
That does make a lot of comic book sense. What about Captain America? I didn't know that he aged. I didn't know that he aged at all.
For, like, storyline.
Because he got frozen in the ice, and then came to modern times, and he was still the exact same age, and then he went back in time and came to modern times, and he's old man.
I think the thing they always say, like with the frozen and ice, that was like the thing. Yeah, it was like cryogenics.
Okay, fair.
That was like the main thing, because in the comics he'll age, and there's been other things where it's like they had him age, but he's supposed to age very slowly. So I think even for me, when I saw that, like I feel like that type of aging
is too much.
It was like quite.
Maybe
quite
he should have just been middle aged.
Like
45, like balding on the top. It's backwards. He's got a little gut. He's got a knee injury. Dad, go. Missing a tooth. Wears glasses now.
America.
America's getting old as shit.
Yeah.
What did you think about the Hulk snapping with the gauntlet? Is that canon? And why didn't
he ever did this? Yeah, because this is the thing that they changed from the comics. Which one thing I actually do like. Like, I'm actually not one of those like comic people who says like, "Oh, you must be exactly the same as the comics."
Yeah.
Like, I like when they change it because one, some things in the comics just won't make sense. Like, if you make a movie like this, like,
because, like for example, the power levels of everybody.
Yeah, the power levels.
You can't translate that over to the movie.
And do you know
it'll be ridiculous.
What is Thanos' like original plan?
Yeah, cause he's in love with Mistress Death, and so he wants to kill everyone to seduce her.
Where it's like he just wants that girl. Where I'm like, you make this in the movie, like, because I worked in a comic book store like back in Michigan.
Back in the day.
So like I would always actually even this summer when I go back.
Nice.
I've been working there for probably at least 13 years.
Damn,
15
that's
years.
awesome.
No, probably. How old am I now? I'm 28.
47.
28 years old now. I probably started working there when I was like 10.
Damn.
And like I never actually got paid in cash. I always got paid in comics.
Sounds like a dope job.
Yeah. So like,
what is your plan to go back and like buy the store? Sounds like your story arc.
Maybe in 15 years.
Yeah.
Like he wants to retire. Yeah. When you say
like,
like here,
you can pick up the keys.
Yeah. Right now I can't pick them up. Yeah. Dang. Not yet.
That sounds pretty awesome though, man.
Yeah.
How is it working in a comic book store?
It is really cool, but you get some people in there who like are
aggressive.
like, I love comics, but like some of them, they just know so much more knowledge and they put so much more thought. Like I put in a lot of thought into my theories, but for them, they break down every single panel, every single like, I don't know, like
every
personality concept. Or it's like, oh, this person is supposed to have a type A personality, but they're acting like a type B, and blah blah blah. It's like all this stuff. I was like, damn. They're like, he's like, this doesn't line up with what happened in 1972. And this other it wasn't canon, but it is canon now. And in this one interview, is like with Johnny Carson at this one time, is like not on his show, but just like just in the streets of some guy filming it. Yeah. He's like, he once confirmed that this is actually canon. I'm like, what? You're like things like this, or
in the alley between the Taco Bell and the KFC in Memphis.
Yeah.
In 1961.
Like once in a while, my mom would visit me at like the comic book store, and every time she would go in, she's like, "It's just like Big Bang Theory in here." Because like one time she went in, and people were like arguing about like who is stronger, the Hulk or Thor or the Thing, and like people were like, "Of course the Hulk. He can just get. He's like the matter he gets. Yeah, he just gets. Yeah, he gets." Stronger and stronger and stronger, but it's like there has to be a limit. He's like there has to be a like.
Is the Thing even in the conversation? How strong is the Thing?
Oh, he's supposed to be very strong. Yeah, like he's.
It seems like he's not even in the argument.
I probably like, now he should.
I feel like he's in like Captain America level strength.
Yeah, but like I think originally, like back in the day, like
he was pretty 60s, badass.
70s, he's always like he always fought like the Hulk a lot.
Isn't there an alternate universe where the Hulk hulks out so hard that the people from that universe try to teleport him to a different universe? I feel like I remember hearing that, where he gets so angry that he can't get any stronger without getting bigger, and then he starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger until he's big enough to like smash fucking solar systems.
Sounds legit. I never read this, but
then the Doctor Strange from that universe contacts Doctor Stranges from other universes, asking, "Can you take him? Can you just bring him to your universe?" And they all refuse because they'll destroy the universe. I can't remember what happens. I have all these vague plot lines in my head from Comics Explained, the YouTube channel.
You just gotta get the app.
Yeah, I gotta just follow up on all these and just go into it. I gotta find a comic book store I can get a job at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How's it pay? Is it good pay over there?
I get my comics. Like really, like no, seriously, like not even joking. Like I just work there maybe once, twice a week. Like even when I had like full-time jobs back in the US, I always told them like, they asked me like what days do you want off, I said because that's the day when the comics come in. I have to organize them, like because Wednesdays that's when the comics are released. And then the comics, they come in on Tuesdays. So, like, that's the day when they need me to work. Also, Sundays, that's usually when, like, the owner of the store, he likes to go on vacation, like to take a break a little bit. So, like, usually, even when I had, like, the full-time jobs, I was like, I prefer, like, Tuesdays and Sundays off, just so I can continue to work and just, like, grab a stack of comics. Be like, the other owner would be like, you want some cash? Nah, it's alright, yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it's like, throw in a few more comics. Yeah.
I'm good with these plots. I'm getting paid in plots. Mm-hmm. That sounds like an epic job.
Yeah, because if he were to give me cash, I would just, like, go back and be like,
spend it at the store?
Yeah, I'd be like, maybe I'll buy this and buy this and buy that.
How much work is involved in running a comic book store?
Running a comic book store. Yeah. I know one of the biggest things, I think probably the hardest thing is just trying to decide how many comics you're going to order. Because that's the problem, is that when you order comics, you're not ordering comics for, like, next week. Mm-hmm. You have to order, like, a comic in, like, 3 months ahead of time. So say, for example, if there's going to be, like, a new hero. Like, say, if we have Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Spider-Man #1, if they're going to reboot that, of course, everyone's going to buy that. Like, a lot of people will buy that. So, you know, okay, I want to order, like, so many issues.
A lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of that.
So, it's kind of like a guessing game.
Yeah, but it's like, say, Spider-Gwen. You know, this Gwen Stacy. There's an alternate universe. And it was like Gwen Stacy becoming Spider-Man. So, that comic coming out, you don't really know. Like, okay, people like Spider-Man, but will people like Spider-Gwen? It's just going to be like, I don't know, just maybe a lot of people who are very hardcore Spider-Man who wants everything buy this, and I don't know, women readers, will they buy this? Or will they think like, oh, you're just pandering to us? I'm like, I don't want to read this. You always have to think like, or not.
Interesting.
So like, there's always comics where you know for sure that I have to order a lot. So like, that's always your Batman.
Yeah.
Your Superman. Your Justice League. Yeah.
X-Men.
Iron Man. Mm-hmm. X-Men. Wolverine, I would say yes. Especially if it's a big thing. And then X-Men, they just have so many series. Mm-hmm. Now they cut down a lot, but like especially earlier. Many different types, like New X-Men. Uncanny X-Men. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's like, what is it? X-Factor, all this stuff.
They must strictly limit who can author these, right? And so, for a more popular superhero, do they allow multiple people to write multiple stories at the same time?
Usually they have like a contract or so.
So like the guy who's writing for Thor right now.
Yeah, he's been writing for Thor, Jason Aaron. Yeah. He's been writing for Thor for like 8-9 years now.
So there's no one else has written Thor stories during that time?
There's been a couple, but it's like usually offshoot. It's usually
it's like minor ones.
Yeah.
So it'll be in their contract that it has to be minor. It has to be. Yeah. It can't detract from this other story.
And like even those writers, usually it's still in that same comic. So say for example, it's like, okay, let's make this comic a little bigger.
Yeah.
Let's have.
It's about him like having lunch one day.
Yeah, something like that.
In between the battles.
Yeah, because like say for example, I can't remember if he actually wrote it. I know he wrote a Drax story. CM Punk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he wrote a story.
He wrote a story.
Yeah, but like I don't know if he wrote one for Thor. If I'm just like getting the authors incorrect, but like there's also like another offshoot like Thor story. But like this was like when Thor was like young and like Norse mythology and whatnot. So like that type of story wouldn't like hurt canon at all or hurt any stories at this point in time.
That actually gave me an idea what I just said. Is there any author out there who just writes like satirical, but not like offensively satirical, but like for example, write a Thor comic that's all about a day in the life of Thor? That literally does take place between the main story. So like on Tuesday he like defeats Thanos, and then like on Friday he goes back to Asgard, and so this story is like Wednesday, Thursday, where he goes and has lunch and sees a movie and takes a long nap and reads a book.
Oh yeah, they definitely had those stories for pretty much like every single character. I feel like they do that a lot with like.
Are those popular?
They are fairly popular, but you can always tell like, all right, here's the filler. He's like, this writer probably needs a break, or just do something a little fun, or maybe the reader needs a break instead of just like
intensity all the time,
intense, and be like, okay, let's just give you something lighthearted. Mm-hmm.
Do you collect comic books as like maybe they'll be worth something someday?
It looks like I do, but like every time I think about like some of the stuff does actually like worth a good amount. Like I think
it does grow in value.
Yeah, like some of them do grow in value.
Is that because they don't print any more of them after the first issue?
Yeah, that's actually that was actually the problem. I don't know if you knew, like Marvel almost went bankrupt in like the 90s or so. But that was like one of the big problems. There was going to be some big old bubble bust. So, like I guess the head of Marvel, they decided like, okay, we're going to start creating variant issues. We're going to start creating like limited edition. I'm doing air quotes. Yeah, limited editions. Yeah, so
make sure the microphone can see.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, so you do limited editions, and all it is like, okay, let's print thousands of the same issue, but let's print, I don't know, 1 million copies of one that has a normal cover. Now let's print one that has a hologram cover. Now let's print one where it's like, okay, this one had Iron Man in front. Okay, now this one, Spider-Man will be in front. So really, it is just like the same like comic, because what their logic was, this was a time when like finally like the first issues of Spider-Man and like Superman, all of these became very, very expensive. So all these people are like, oh wow, what? Comics can get really expensive? And Marvel and these like publishers are like, yeah, Marvel or like comics can get really expensive. You just hold on to them. But like they didn't tell them that like the reason why they're expensive is that people kept them. People like, or I mean like those, the ones that are existing now, they're still in good condition. And like others, like back in the 60s and 70s, like it was a totally different view of what a comic is. Like there's so many stories of people whose parents, they saw their kids have a stack of comics and they said, okay, this is junk. You're an adult now. Now you just throw them away, or you just give them away. Or like when I talk with like other people who's like during that era, they'll say like, yeah, just a group of friends, we wouldn't buy our separate comics. We just buy one comic, I read it, give it to my other friend. He'll read it, give it to his other friend. And then by the time that comic gets done, okay, it's ripped and destroyed and whatnot. And
so
then you're just
so they print one big issue of it, and then there's a constantly diminishing population of comics.
And also, it's like the material. Like right now, comics, they use a totally different type of
like
paper.
Some impervious laminate material that's like some vibranium shit.
It's like more like how to say,
And back in the day, it was like Bible paper.
Pretty much, newspaper, all that,
Maybe they should go back to that. Maybe they should make it as degradable as possible.
Some of the indie comics, they use that just to like cut costs and whatnot.
So
that's like the big thing. But like during the 90s when they're printing all this, like they weren't telling people it's like, and it's like, even though it says limited edition, or maybe it says, I don't know, it's like could be collector's edition. Still, there's 5 million copies out there, so still not worth anything. Like you bought it for $2, but it actually decreased in value because there's too many out there. Now it's like you can only sell it for 25 cents.
Shit. So they did that to themselves. They kind of dug their own grave. Yeah. So how did they come about? How did they fix that?
I think they actually had to sell it to like
Disney.
No, not Disney. This is even way before that. Wow. I think it was like Mutter. I think there's like a few CEOs like that. Okay. And then how they got out of it was like, okay, kind of stop doing that, but more they're focusing on toys and licensings. And that's when like they started selling the rights of their movies and their TV like rights for these characters. That's the reason why, like say Spider-Man owned by Sony, X-Men owned by Fox, was owned by Fox. All that stuff.
Disney's compiling them all. I think Disney wants to have a monopoly on the superheroes, which is a good idea. Yeah,
which like originally that's the reason why Marvel Studios were able to do Avengers like with those characters as well, because Captain America wasn't sold. He was like Hulk. I think Bill technically has rights with. Okay. But I think the deal is that Marvel isn't able to do a standalone Hulk movie. Like so he can only it has to be with someone. He has to only be like a guest star on that. Otherwise, they would have to give more of those profits to Universal, or has to use like I think distributor of Universal, something like that.
Bunch of sketchy fine print.
All that.
when you think about, as somebody who doesn't understand the business at all, when you think about comic books, it seems hard for them to not be profitable. But then at the same time, if people, like the old comic books were like 5 cents, right, or something like that, like 1 penny or some crazy bullshit back in the day when cars cost $5 and a house cost $200. The good old days.
Good old days.
Yeah. But what they don't talk about back then is that you made 25 cents a week.
But they did still say comics still very popular back in the days, like in the 40s and 50s, because it was still like considered like the cheap entertainment.
Yeah.
Because being like 5 cents or something, still cheap compared to like buying a radio. Yeah. Because not everyone had a radio.
How much did a movie cost back then? Like
probably
a couple bucks.
Probably not even that much.
Probably like $2, something like $1.
I think even less than that, probably
50 cents, probably. Because when McDonald's first opened, it was $1, right, for a burger. I think it was. Or maybe it was like 50 cents.
I feel like 15 cents.
15 cents? Yeah, that's something I need to Google.
I feel like it has 15 cents, yeah.
All right.
San Bernardino? 15 cents. The McDonald brothers.
My hand is not even working right now. But what would you guess? 15 cents?
I would guess 15 cents.
Oh.
If not 10. Oh, you mean like what people are buying them for, right?
Yeah. When you walk into McDonald's, when McDonald's first opens,
15
cents, I'd say it. Shit, yeah, you're making me question myself now. 50 cents seems expensive all of a sudden. This was like 500 years ago. 15 cents! Yeah, shit. Nicely done, man. Nice. Including hamburgers. Yeah. It's like, cheeseburgers 19. You pay 4 cents extra for cheese.
Not worth it.
But that was real cheese back then.
Yup. Oh, yeah.
I
guess, yeah.
That came straight from the cow titty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. And Orangeade for 10 cents? What the fuck is Orangeade? It's like Gatorade's ancient
Fanta.
Damn, 15 cents for a burger. How are people not fat back then? Again, that was probably a lot of money though.
And also they probably like use real ingredients.
Yeah.
And
probably.
You can get like filled off of that.
Yeah.
Because like now it's like a McDouble.
Yeah,
you eat like 3 or 4 of those. I'm like still a little hungry.
Yeah. You didn't instantly die of 17 different types of cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a sucker for McDonald's. I love McDonald's.
I fucking love McDonald's so much, man. I love it. I had 2 double cheeseburgers the other day because they have that deal now. It's
the 12.
Yeah.
And one in from the white and one from the red.
Yeah.
Right? Or the red. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which combination do you get? I feel like there's only like 1 or 2 good combinations.
There's 2 good ones. So I get a double cheeseburger and a Coke Zero, and I get a double cheeseburger and ice cream.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, best way to go, I think.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I wasn't going to say Coke Zero. I was going to say the coffee as well. Yeah, but pretty much.
I'm not a coffee drinker. When I get a hot drink, I get a hot chocolate there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like when I go there for breakfast, I'll get...
But pretty much, I actually have never got it with the coffee. I'm not really a coffee drinker either.
What do you get?
I always get the ice cream.
Oh,
always get the sundae. Yeah.
It's the grace. Yeah. You get the chocolate or a strawberry?
Usually chocolate.
Okay. I go back and forth a little bit. Usually chocolate, though. Yeah, you're making me awesome McDonald's right now.
Does sound good.
I found a great place on Olamide called Mario Pizza. Check it out. You get that? Their deals are insane.
I've tried it.
They're like $25 for a pizza.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for a 9-inch pepperoni and mushroom pizza.
I think they have like a Mexican one. It's like pepperoni and jalapeno.
Yeah, probably. Jalapeno's hard to get here. Yeah, it's kind of a rare ingredient. Yeah. It's like the coveted foreign pepper.
Yeah. Everyone's like, I swear you like it. Like, you guys like chili? I swear you like it. Yeah. I never understand why like salsa is so expensive in China. Like, this is the one thing where it's like I refuse to buy salsa at like any restaurant. Yeah, like because like some of these places like they're selling it for like 35 kwai for like some tiny little bowl where it's like I'm like this is like
you're talking about like foreign bars.
Yeah, like foreign bars 100%. Or even like not gonna talk bad about any restaurants. I'm not gonna name drop anything.
Of course.
But like some of these places I'm like you can get all these ingredients in China, and it's so cheap. I'm like, tomatoes? Yeah. Chinese people love tomatoes.
Onions?
I'm like, onions, cilantro, shangcai. Chinese people love all this stuff. He's like, and then you just need, what, maybe lemon is a little more expensive, but still, you don't
pay some employee for 15 minutes to chop it all up and put it in it. Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, to make, like, a giant bowl of salsa. Like, I feel like I usually make pico de gallo. I always kind of just, like, consider them almost the same. they're not the same.
I have no idea what the difference is. I never worked in a Mexican restaurant.
Like Pico de Gallo, I may be wrong, but to my understanding, Pico de Gallo is more just like, okay, just chop it up, put it together.
Okay.
And then salsa, maybe you cook it a little bit, or maybe there's a little more
work or something like that.
Something like that. But like in general, Pico de Gallo salsa, you make a tiny bowl, you make a giant bowl, pretty much cost it the same.
Pretty much the same.
You can make
it scales up nicely.
Giant bowl, and you'll probably spend no more than 6 kwai. 33 kwai for this tiny thing. I'm like, this is like 2 mao worth of like salsa right here.
It's brutal.
I'm like, man, your profits, your margins are amazing.
Domino's Pizza.
Yeah,
I worked at that place back when I was in high school for a while, and even like after college, I worked there for a couple months, and the pizza is actually incredibly low margin. Mm-hmm. Like the most expensive pizza on the menu, they only make like $1 or $2 profit. Mm-hmm. But the side items like chicken, for example, is insanity profit margins, like ridiculous profit margins. Mm-hmm. And so they're always, if you call there, they're always going to try to upsell you on one of those side items because that's how they make their money. If you go there and you just order pizza, especially on one of the good deals like the $6.99 deal, they basically make nothing. They're giving you pizza at cost, basically.
That's how I'm probably putting pizza places out of business,
dude. So basically all of my friends have worked there. Me and everyone I know has worked at Domino's at some point, and they have the $6.99 2-topping deal, and you can medium, the mozzarella that comes on it doesn't count as a topping. So then you can put Asiago on it and Parmesan on it, and then it's the exact same ingredients as their cheesy bread, but it's $2 cheaper and it's much bigger. And they put more of the cheese on it. So that's a little life hack right there. If you want cheesy bread, just do the $6.99 deal and just get 3 types of cheese on it. Nice. So fucking good.
I'll go back to
I miss. I saw one in Shanghai, I think.
Oh yeah. When I went to Thailand over like the spring break, I had Domino's 3 times. Yeah.
Dude, I miss getting pizza and it gets to my house hot enough to burn my mouth. I don't think that's happened once in the 4 years I've been to China. It gets here stone cold every time, and I immediately take half of it, put it in the oven, and I eat the other half cold.
I don't get any like takeout at all, or like I guess delivery.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like just because like I know I'm gonna be so lazy. Like if I get into that again, that's like a rabbit hole as well. It's brutal, like if I start to do it, I'm gonna do it every day, and I'm just gonna stay home. Watch Netflix, read comics. So it's like I have to get.
This is one of the strange places in the world where delivery legitimately is cheaper than making. Because of the Olamide deals. Yeah. The deals are ridiculous. Like that Mario pizza that's 20, that's like 22 kwai or something like that. Or there's this one restaurant that always has the exact same deal. It's a big bowl of rice, and then it's like it's like a fist size amount of shredded pork and like a fist size amount of fried chicken, and then usually some like 2 types of vegetables as well. That's 13 RMB, including delivery and everything.
Is that a chain? Is that like
a probably thing? It's probably one of the chains. Yeah, but that shit comes, man, and it's what is that, $2 less? It's like $1.60, something like that. Man, that's cheap. Yeah, I mean,
the thing that I do,
that's cheaper than the ingredients.
I do still save money, like Papa John's. Yeah. Before they had like buy one get one free. Yeah. But they still have it, or no, not buy one, half off.
They have 100 get 50 off.
Yeah, it's like, or no, not even that. Like every Monday they have half off pizza.
Oh yeah.
But originally you were only able to get it through like delivery. So like I would go to a restaurant, just have it delivered to my table. Yeah. I would just like order it there, and it'd be like address. I'm like, Bangyuhan, Papa John's, World City Plaza. I'm like, and then like any notes, I'll be like, table next to the register. And like, I'll be like, Lawai, foreigner.
That's great.
It's like,
that's great.
I would order it. I was like, just tell them like, I don't need a QID or that Why My guy. I don't need like anyone to deliver it. I'm like, so that guy doesn't have to show up. But yeah,
dude, that's great.
Yeah, they're like, okay, this is it. And what was funny is that they would put it in like a delivery bag as well, and put it like that bag on the table. So I just like take it out and then like eat it like through the box still. Like they wouldn't give me plates or anything.
That's nice.
But now I go there and don't have to do that. But I always just kind of like feel like a fat ass. Because like many times I would just go there by myself
and eat a whole pizza.
And just get a whole pizza.
I do that all the time.
And they always like just give me like 2 or 3 plates. I'm like, don't need.
Or they ask you if you need a to-go box. Like, no, there's not gonna be anything left.
I did get a to-go box on Monday because I went to Pizza Hut, and like originally I was gonna go with my roommate.
Does Pizza Hut have deals on certain days?
They only had like a 2-day deal. It was buy one get one free. And I was like,
shit, I should have gone.
And I was
they have legitimately good pizza. The deep dish pepperoni is worth getting.
Yeah, it was quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like originally going to go with my roommate, and then he backed out, and I was like,
not gonna not go.
I'm like, still really want pizza.
You might have like, 2 pizzas.
Like everyone was just kind of like, it's like, anyone else? I'm like, no. And they're like, what would you like? I'm like, just this buy one get one free. And they're like, only you? I'm like, yeah, that's only me.
Damn right, only me.
And like, I had these 2 pizzas in front of me with 2 slices of pizza, or like 1 slice in each hand. And like I'm like, okay, seafood. I'm like, for some reason, the free one had to be like the wedge pizza. Yeah, which is weird, but it also tastes.
Could you have just gotten cheese?
No, they didn't really give you a choice for that. You were able to choose one of them, and then they had to give you the potato wedge one. Probably because like
they're just getting rid of the potatoes.
I think probably the margin on that is probably quite high.
Yeah, and they probably just the potatoes are going off, so they're like, let's do a deal.
So that one I take home, and I ate that for breakfast because I was like, dang, this is perfect. Because
how was the potato wedge pizza? Is that good?
It was weird, very very weird because it didn't have like the pizza sauce. It had some other kind of the white sauce.
It was like cheese, like American cheese.
Yeah, they had cheese. Yeah, potato. So a potato wedge on each slice. Also a slice of bacon. But also had like eggs underneath like the cheese. So it was like very weird, but it, like you're like,
this is all the ingredients they need to get rid of.
Yeah, like kind of it tastes good. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I was like, this would be good for breakfast. I just use that for breakfast. Yeah.
Last time I went to Pizza Hut, they said that something was wrong with the water, and so we got the 12-inch deep dish, and it was like paper thin, flat. It didn't rise. He's like, something was wrong with the water. And I complained, assuming that they wouldn't do anything, and he brought me 2 free 9-inch pizzas. Dang. But the 9-inch pizzas were made with a different batch of water, apparently, so they were perfect, like all fluffy and delicious. So I got 3 pizzas for the price of 1. 2 9-inches at 12, whatever it is. I just miss the $5.99 deal at Domino's. Is so cheap, and the pizza's so good, and it gets to you, and it's fucking boiling hot.
Their pizza definitely increased, like in quality so much. Because when I was a kid, it was so bad,
didn't it?
Pizza Hut, I think, still quite good. Like it depends what you get.
Let me ask you, like, was the Pizza Hut of our childhood more unhealthy than it is now? It did seem like it, didn't it? It was like spongier. It had more grease, and it was like crispier, and it was like
I think so.
And now it's sort of like a dry, crusty,
really?
Like a cookie almost.
Actually, like usually for Pizza Hut, like in the U.S., I actually don't get their like pan dish.
Okay.
There used to be a deal. I think it was $9.99. Yeah, $9.99, large. As many toppings as you want. And like
that's aggressive.
Actually, like at one point they told me, they're like, we can't put this many on because it won't cook.
It won't cook properly, yeah.
Because I just like loaded up and like we would get 2 of them because my mom's a vegetarian. So we would get like one that is all meat for like my dad. And then like one that is just all vegetables for my mom. And then you get like the hand tossed pizza, usually a thin crust from my mom. So you get all the vegetables, and then you're like, I want balsamic vinegar drizzled on top. The other one, he's like, I want a buffalo sauce drizzled on top. Also stuffed crust, add another $1 or so. Nice. So that very, very good. Yeah.
Man, I miss stuffed crust. I haven't had that in years and years. I go to town whenever they tell me that any of the ingredients are free. Like at Subway, I get the BMT, and then I just get like 3 servings of every vegetable, and so the sandwich is like 4 inches of vegetables, and then like an eighth of an inch of meat.
I used to work at Disney World, and like within Disney World, there's like hidden city underneath the Magic Kingdom, and they actually have a Subway restaurant like underneath, like underneath the rides. But that guy would always hook you up because like get a sub, get that 5-inch or not 5. What am I gonna say? $5 foot long, and then he'd be like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Just give me everything." He would just pile it on, and then I'm like, "Man, I got 3 breaks today." So I'm like, "Okay, I got some other food, but I'm gonna split this." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna have one half of this sub now, one half of this sub for 1 break, and then I'm gonna spread or kind of scrape a lot of these vegetables off that's like overflowing, and the stuff that's already in the bag that's like already fell out of the sandwich. I'm just gonna make that a salad for like my short 15-minute break." Yeah.
I used to work at this food court that was they would give you like a $10.25 credit every day for lunch, and you can buy anything you want in the food court with that. And the food court was connected to a Pizza Hut, and the extra large pizza was $12 there. Yeah. So you pay an extra $1.75 and get an extra large pizza for lunch.
Nice.
God damn, that was ruthless.
With the $5 footlong, I heard Subway isn't doing that well. It says,
I bet they're not. Yeah.
One, not even like the political stuff, but it's like just like the price.
It's hard to make money on a $5 footlong.
Because they said it's been the same thing for like 11 years now, and like Subway, they like use like their owners to change, change it or to like have like pricing, and also to open a franchise. I think there's like double the. I want to say there's like 14,000 McDonald's in the U.S., but there was like 25,000 Subways.
Damn.
Because like they didn't really have any like strict requirements about like where you can open one up.
Okay, so
like,
everywhere.
Yeah, so they're opening up everywhere, and then like all these people are opening them up, and they're opening them up too close to each other. So it's like now they're just competing with each other.
Yeah.
So it's like that was one thing. Another thing is just the subs. The ingredients getting more expensive, but they're still saying you gotta have this $5 foot long. And if you change the price, all these customers are gonna get mad. What? Where's my $5 foot long? Which I'm kind of one of those people.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not buying. Yeah, it's like, I'm like
$5.25.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I'd be like, I want Italian BMT, but like, what? It's not $5 till tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.
100%. What is it today? $6? Fuck that.
I am really cheap.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
dude, Chipotle, I don't understand how they stay in business. Because people like me go into Chipotle, and the only thing they charge extra for is extra meat and guac. I don't get guac. I just get one helping of meat, and I get triple of everything else, so they have to use two wraps. And like cheese is not cheap, and they use high quality mozzarella. And I just go, more cheese, please, more cheese. And they just handfuls of cheese. And I have this fucking monstrosity with multiple tortilla wraps, and you end up getting like a small football burrito, and it's the same price. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if everyone did this in a weekend, they'd be out of business.
That's why I don't understand the people. Like, I have a couple friends, they really just love basic stuff. Like, they go to Chipotle, all they get is like ground beef and cheese. Like, you want anything else? They're like, no. I'm like, what? I'm like, why don't you just make that at home? Same thing with the sub. Like, my one friend, favorite thing to get is, what is it? The wheat bread, because he wants to be healthy. That's what he says. And then he's like, I want spicy Italian. Spicy Italian with American cheese. That's it. Nothing more.
Yeah, man, that's not a difficult sandwich to make.
I was like, dude, I'm like, you're missing the whole point of like Subway, or missing these experiences. Yeah, I'm like, you just give me $5 and I'll make you like 4 or 5 of these. Yeah,
dude, I had carne asada for the first time at Chipotle after like a decade of just having the chicken. I had carne asada. Fucking incredible, incredible. Those burritos keep so well as well. I mean, shit. Did you used to go and do the tinfoil day where you get a free burrito if you wear tinfoil on your body somewhere? No. Once a year, if you just put tinfoil on your body, you go in there and get a free burrito. I wish they could bring burritos to China. When I first came to China, like within the first month, I met a guy from where I'm from, and he happened to be here working for some big company that was looking to open American franchises in China. And what he initially came here to open was Chipotle's. And after doing a bunch of market research, he found out that a Chipotle burrito would cost like 50 RMB. So he's like, it's not going to happen.
But I think maybe nowadays it would be alright.
Maybe it's getting cheaper.
I think still the majority of people wouldn't buy it.
What do you think of Chinese
people?
How much would it have to cost for a Chinese person to buy it? A Chipotle burrito?
Honestly, 50 kwai is fine. And nowadays, like, I think
maybe in like Hankou.
Him staying, or even in Wuchang, just like he would definitely be able to stay in business because like Chinese people just love like the luxury, that kind of like they love brands.
Would they consider it luxurious food though? It's like mostly rice and beans.
No, I think nowadays they would. Like you just have to kind of market it in a different way.
As
just
Mexican,
kind of like you have to change
food.
it into not even Mexican. I think you kind of have to make it. What am I kind of looking for? Like exotic. That's the thing. Because also I've talked with like one Chinese person before, and I asked him like, why doesn't Mexican food like work? Because it's like a third world country. It's like kind of like he was like completely serious, and then it kind of made sense. Where he was saying like, yeah, look, it's like Chinese people, they're willing to pay for very expensive German food, very high end country. French,
or
American, Italian, like spaghetti is like, why the heck are you charging 60 plus
68 kwai for
like this is the same exact thing
spaghetti
at
with ketchup.
It's like Lanzhou, and it's like worse too. But it's like with like other things, so say like Thai food, like they kind of see in country, which now I mean again like right now and like currently it's getting better. So I think the views are changing, but I think I had this conversation maybe 3-4 years ago, something like that. This is how I was explaining it, where it's like, a lot of these like third world countries or countries that are considered like weaker than China. So like Mexico, so Mexican food, pretty much like all African.
Most
like
South
food,
America,
like
I'm sure.
All that, they're like, we don't
Eastern Europe, probably Middle East, Southeast Asian.
Yeah, but I think now the views are changing. To
come full circle, I really want to go to Vietnam. I've heard such good things about their sandwiches. An entire culture that loves sandwiches. It's hard to say no to that. I'm gonna need to Google some Vietnamese sandwiches here. Is it like flatbread, like non-sandwiches, like pita sandwiches kind of thing, or? I'm not too sure about like the original, but like the ones I had wasn't. Mine it was more like a roll.
Small, like a roll.
Okay. Was it like crusty on the outside, soft on the inside?
Nice. Perfectly too. At least the ones I had, like.
I love a really hard roll. I want my jaw to get tired chewing it. I want it on the outside to be like leather. Like crispy leather on the outside, and then like completely soft, like airy butter on the inside.
I definitely don't want it that hard.
There's this one Italian restaurant that home makes these rolls, these like sourdough rolls almost, and then leaves them overnight outside, and then the next day you can buy these hard rolls, and they have a limited amount of them every day because they age them, and they're fucking unbelievable. And on the inside, it's the normal Italian sub, all that stuff.
And it's like crust, like just that perfect crisp. Like you have a kind of hard and the inside very soft.
What about toppings? What did the Vietnamese put on toppings?
Again, didn't go to Vietnam, but at least what they gave me, it was like
a little too healthy for me here. Let's get some good stuff.
Some big pieces of meat.
Okay, there we go.
Some beef.
Nice. God damn it.
That's what I got.
Do you like Potbellies? Do you have that where you're from?
What is it?
It's a sandwich place. Toasted sandwiches. It's like a really high quality Quiznos. Quiznos, by the way, I think is shit. But Potbellies is like a really high quality Quiznos, like a deli quality. Man, they have sandwiches that just blow my fucking mind. They have this Italian sandwich, and it's like Subway in that all the meat is like pre-prepared and then like put into single servings. And so they'll put that down, and then they'll put a cheese on top of it, and it's in such a way that when it goes through the toaster, the salami shrinks around the edges, and the cheese melts and pools in the shrunk salami, and then it comes out the other side, and they put all the cold vegetables on it and stuff. Man, it's fucking amazing. Killing me. I'm so fucking... Right before I go home, I always get so ferociously hungry for American food. And then I get home and I eat like 1 or 2 meals, and I'm sick of it.
Oh, really? No, I don't get sick of it. No.
Well, not sick of it, but like I don't have this ferocious hunger anymore. You know?
No, there's just like too much stuff I want to eat. It's like usually this is how it goes. I go home, and then the first stop I go to, there's Mexican Town in Detroit. So just go there and get a combination platter.
Nice.
So you get enchiladas, taco, tostada. Plays a little more free salsa. So it's like all that, and then like the next like week, 2 weeks, three weeks, I'm just going to all different places. I'm like, let me get a Costco pizza. That's actually my favorite pizza. Just a slice of Costco pizza. That to me, that's like the perfect pizza. Just one big slice, quite greasy, very cheesy, good sauce, kind of floppy, like New York style pizza. So eat pizza. So get Costco pizza. Then I get some place called, what's it called? Pizza Papadopoulos, which is like Chicago style pizza.
I've never had real Chicago pizza.
Oh no,
like the pie
good.
where it's like fucking that thick. I need to have that someday.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
The first thing I always do is just make breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Usually my flight comes in at night, so like one of my parents will pick me up, and I'll get home. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing I do is just throw down. I'll just make like 6 eggs, like half a pound of bacon, half a pound of sausages, just like half a loaf of bread. Drink 4 or 5 pints of milk, some fresh milk. But eventually it just becomes like a tornado of shitting and eating. Do you have that experience? I do. In America, it just becomes a haze of eating and shitting and eating and shitting. And,
Trying to think how much shitting I do.
And getting stoned out of my mind.
I'm trying to get all like the foreign food. Because I think Detroit and like that area has a lot of like very good food. Because
DC too.
Dearborn, that city actually, I think they say they have like the biggest Arabic population outside of the Middle East.
Let's get some shawarmas.
Get a ton of shawarma, tons of hummus.
God, I miss hummus. Some red pepper inside it, like red pepper sauce.
Let me pick your brain for a little bit.
Absolutely.
What's the word I'm looking for? Attraction to smoking. Like hookah. I actually have never smoked a cigarette. I've never done any drugs. Really? I'm like really seriously, a lot of people think I do drugs. Like so many people think
I would have assumed that you smoke weed.
Like many people do.
I would have assumed that you didn't smoke cigarettes though.
But like it's kind of funny, like even though I don't, usually back home I know where to get it. So like so people would be asking like, he's like, where do you get your weed? I'm like, I don't smoke, but I know this guy. Just ask this guy and then get that guy.
Go to that sketchy alley over there. The drugs that I don't do, it's never like a morality thing, is I just don't enjoy them. Like I don't really drink much. I can drink. Sometimes I enjoy it if it's an occasion that really calls it. If it's like a wedding, I'll get smashed, or something like that. But other than that, I just have no interest in it. It doesn't.
Or it's like all you can drink special one night.
Smoking cigarettes, I think they taste bad, and I don't like the head rush that it gives you. Coffee makes me kind of jittery, and I also think it tastes bad. It's kind of just like dirty water. And then alcohol is just, it's not worth the hangover and feeling bad afterwards. When it comes to like smoking weed, I just like being high, and I think it tastes delicious. I think the smoke tastes great.
What's the feeling of being high?
It depends on what kind of
listeners.
It depends on what kind of weed you're smoking. If you're smoking like an indica, your body will feel sort of slow and heavy.
What's an indica?
Indica is the majority of weed that's grown, and probably about 80 or 90% of the weed that's grown in the world is cultivated, especially the weed that grows naturally. And it's a strain of weed that hits your body much more than your head. Whereas sativa is a much harder strain to grow, and you usually have to grow it either in a very specific climate or you have to grow it indoors hydroponically. And that is more of a head high, and that high is much more, one of the words that people use is cerebral. And what they really mean by that is that you're not like physically slowed down. Indica is a great weed if you want to like smoke and then go to bed. Sativa is a great weed if you want to like smoke and then watch a movie. Because you're not going to be sleepy, you're going to be alert, and you're going to be attentive.
Do they use a specific one for, like, say, medical marijuana?
Yeah, it would be indica for, like, pain relief and stuff like that. And it makes you hungry. And I pretty much exclusively smoke sativa because, again, like, I don't want to feel sleepy. I'm already kind of a sleepy guy. So... Have
you been back to the U.S. or been to any states since they legalized?
So I had I went to school in Montana. And I had a medical card then, and I actually had to grow up in my room in my apartment. Just this summer, I went back, and they legalized it in D.C. a while ago, and they legalized medical in Maryland, where I live. And so just this summer, when I went back, I got a medical card from Maryland. And so, it's fucking unbelievable. It's
quite easy.
It's shockingly easy.
Yeah, because I remember, when I first started learning Chinese, it was Wayne State, right? It's one guy in class, he kind of showed, he's like, see something? He's like, yeah, I got a medical marijuana card. I'm like, what? How do you get that? He's like, just I got bad migraines. I'm like, that easy? I'm like,
you just go ask for it. It took like 45 minutes, $100. It's really nice to not have to like worry about police and stuff like that anymore, because at the end of the day, I'm not hurting anybody by getting high, and the chances of me endangering other people from being high is almost zero. Don't believe people when they say it doesn't impair you. Like, you can get high enough to be physically impaired, but it's pretty difficult. Having said that, people are going so far out of their way now to implement methods more efficiently to get high and get higher faster, like dabbing, for example.
I don't know what that.
Okay,
like, what, combining strands or something? Or
not necessarily.
No?
We're already at a point where like.
Or like how you smoke
the THC percentage isn't going to get much higher. Like it is steadily increasing, but it's already pretty maxed out.
Smoking it through your butt.
No, well, so there's different efficiencies, and so like smoking a joint is pretty inefficient versus like smoking a bong is way more efficient. More of the THC is getting to you. But
what about eating?
Eating is actually a completely different chemical. When it gets processed by your liver, it becomes a different chemical, and so it's a very different high. And eating it can become a very uncomfortable experience because you can very quickly get too high, and you can't just get unhigh. Like you bought the ticket and you're on the ride now. You gotta deal with it for the next 5 or 6 hours.
I feel like when I go back this summer, it's gonna be a bad thing because I'm gonna tell you, Michigan, they like legalize weed.
Yeah,
and
they like to get stoned.
And also, like, because this is back in the day, maybe in high school 10 years ago, something like that. Never smoked weed. Have many friends who smoke weed. I don't have anything against weed. I think the main reason why I don't smoke is because my personality, you can see with the comic books. When I like something, I want to read everything. I want to know everything. So I know when I smoke weed, it's the first time I do it, I'm like, okay, I tried this time. Let me try. Okay, first I try indica. I want to try sativa. I want to try blueberry yum yum. I want to try this or whatever. And it's like elfberry.
And you probably would.
Like, I mean, I'm just that type of person.
The tastes are very distinct, and the highs are very distinct, and so it does become like almost like a wine tasting thing. Where you're like, oh my god, this one's much more different than the other one.
So it's like that's like
you go there and get
like I don't drink beer that much, but again, like that's kind of how I am with beer. Where it's like I always get a flight. Whenever I go to a new place because I just want to try them all. Anyways,
I think that's a good attitude to have though, rather than the person who goes there and just orders 7 of the same beer and gets pounded.
You have
a different your journey and your end goal are different, and they're probably a healthier journey. And
pretty much when I get past a certain point, when I'm like, "Ooh, I'm drunk," when like pretty much all the beers start tasting the same, that's when I'm like, all right, just give me the cheapest. Because I feel like after a while, like all craft beers, like my first sip and then another one, okay, these taste different. After getting a little buzz, now they all taste the same. But anyways, to go back to like the weed thing, told my friends before, I was like, okay, if weed is legal, then maybe I'll do some edibles with you guys.
Oh man!
But now
you should start with smoking.
Now it's like legal, and now it's either do edibles with them and just like. I'd be like, oh, this probably isn't for me. Or I'm going to be like, sorry, guys, I'm not going to do it. And they'd be like, you lying bastard, you! You lied to us.
Also, there's edibles are not an exact science. And so you could eat a fucking pound of brownies, and it could only have 10 milligrams of THC in it, and then you could eat a gummy bear with 50 milligrams. And 50 milligrams will put you in a fucking hole. You will be down deep in a dark place for a good 5 or 10 hours. That's like I started getting this pure oil when I went back, and to give you an idea of dosing, because I don't know like the milligrams of it, I would take a goldfish. Something everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
And I would put imagine the lead of a pencil. That's the thickness. I would put a line from the from the
goldfish. All right.
Yeah.
I imagine this
a real goldfish.
Pretty intense. Yeah.
I should have specified. Yeah. So a cheesy goldfish, and I would put like a pencil lead thickness line from the nose to the tail, and I'd put another goldfish on top because it's really sticky. and I'd eat that, and I'd be high as tits for like 4 hours. And I don't know how much milligrams that is, but the whole vial is half a gram. And you could probably get 100 of those out of the vial, maybe more. I have no idea. And so there are people out there who can smash the whole vial with an edible and be fine. So people's tolerance, it runs the whole spectrum. And I think there's a much larger gradient of tolerance than with alcohol. And so one person's moderate dose is another person's like fucking world-ending metaphysical terror dose. So you should probably just start smoking. It's so much more baseline.
Most likely I'm just going to be called a liar.
Yeah. That's okay. That's all right.
Hopefully they'll still be my friends.
That's nothing.
Or they'll just forget. Hey, 2008.
They're probably going to get tattooed in their arm. But you can just do the thing that a lot of first-time smokers do is take the hit, but only take it into your mouth and don't inhale it, and then like puff it out like Elon Musk did on the Joe Rogan Experience. He didn't even inhale it, and he goes, "Man, I'm not high." Of course, you're not high. Yeah. When I first started smoking, we would smoke out of aluminum cans, and so that's probably why I have Alzheimer's now. But you take like a Coke can, turn it sideways, and you crush one side of it so it's flat, and you take like a pin or something, and you poke a bunch of holes in it, and you poke a large hole on the side for your thumb. And then you put the weed on top and then smoke it through the can. Some real dirty shit. Real dirty. I'm sure it's really bad for you. Smoking an aluminum can.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
It does not sound good.
Gotta go with the apples.
Yeah. Apples, that's some bull. That's some
hippie
bullshit. Something we also used to do is take plastic 2 liters and cut a hole in it.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and put tinfoil over it.
Oh, tinfoil?
Yeah. Well, you can't smoke out of the plastic. It'll melt. So the part that holds the weed has to be tinfoil.
Oh yeah, maybe they did. Maybe I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah. Those are dirty times.
They always use the Mountain Dew ones.
Yeah,
I feel like that was always
the more rigid plastic bottles work better because they didn't deform when you inhale. But I grew up in a part of the country where there were no head shops. There were no shops that sold glass pieces, and so we had to make our own pieces out of like plastic and shit.
There's like a bunch.
They're everywhere on the West Coast and in the Midwest, but
like
on the
Detroit,
East Coast,
Detroit area, so many. Like even I remember my mom taking me to these places, like when I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, just because they had lizards and like all the lizards and tortoises and whatnot. But like I never really thought. I just always called it the hippie shop. That is what it is. The hippie store.
That's an accurate description. Yeah.
Then I always peek my head into like the naked women. Because they had they had beads on, and then you lick in, and you're like,
that's a pretty interesting combination of shops there. It's one store that sells glass pieces, lizards, and naked women.
Yeah, called the Roadshow.
Damn, that definitely is a roadshow. Definitely a reason to stop. I mean, at the end of the day, the drugs I do are simply because I like getting high. And at this point, I haven't really done anything. I haven't done anything except weed in years. And at this point, the only other drug that I intend on doing is DMT. But I'd like to do that when I'm much older. DMT is a chemical in your brain, and a lot of people believe it's what gives us dreams. And
sounds like zombie stuff.
Well, it's some banana shit. If you like documentaries, there's a lot of great documentaries. Like, for example, DMT, The Spirit Molecule, on YouTube. Check it out. It's some crazy shit. But it's one of the first chemicals that your brain produces in the womb. And when you die, all the DMT in your brain releases. And so a lot of people speculate that when people have near-death religious experiences, they're really just tripping balls. And when you dream, this is another theory, that when you dream, your brain is releasing DMT, dimethyltryptamine.
Do you dream a lot?
I dream every night intensely. And do you
same
remember them?
way. Oh yeah, I remember. Actually, I started. I don't think I have.
Started writing them down.
I finally started writing them down just because, also
I go through like these phases where I try to write them down, but then after a couple weeks of like a book full of nonsense, I stop. Yeah. How crazy are your dreams?
Actually, my dreams really aren't crazy. They're, I guess, like 2 types mainly. But actually, a lot of my dreams are exactly the same as real life, but like an alternate reality. Like, say for example, like maybe now, like maybe tonight, I have a dream like this, but like I'll say something a little different. Okay. Or maybe I'll be sitting in your chair and it's like a whole different situation. I'll be like, okay, what if I did it this way? Where I feel like a lot of my dreams are just like, let's go back and look how, it's like, John, how did you handle your life today? Like, it was like something like this. Like, I've seriously had dreams where it's like I've been talking like with myself. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just like it would just be like 2 or 3 versions of myself just all having a discussion, and then we just like go out. Yeah. So like, and then sometimes like seriously, I can't.
Do you ever get any like good insight from the copy of yourself?
I do actually. Like, yeah, I think that it is actually quite good. And like, there's actually been times where it's like I see a friend, and then I mention something. And then, like, they're like, what? Like, they'd be like, he's like, oh, yeah, didn't you say you're doing this? And I'm like, they're like, what? And then I think about it, I'm like, oh, that was in my dream. Yeah, like, there's been times where
that does
like,
sound
like
it could make some confusion.
Yeah. So that's one type. Other types, it does just kind of get wild. Usually I'm like a superhero.
Okay.
Or something, yeah, or...
I like come in and out of having a weird amount of control. So like one of the dreams that I use as an example is it's like I'm a hero in an action movie, and I'm like fighting my way down a hotel, and I get to like the bottom level where I come out into like a multi-level garage, and there's all these like bad guys, just general minion bad guys, and like kung fuing people left and right. But as the story progresses, it's like I run out of story material. And then at a certain point, things start to like go slow motion. Not because things are actually going slow, but because it's like I'm writing the story as I'm going now. Like I've run out of material. And then it gets to a point where like everyone is stopped, like frozen, for me to think of what happens next. And then I recognize the absurdity of what's happening. And then in the moment, I'm laughing about what's happening as I'm narrating the story. I'm like, okay, and this guy goes this way, and I punch him, and that guy goes that way, and a car drives by, and then this guy goes this way, and then it just breaks down into more and more insanity. Yeah. I have a lot of dreams where I die. That's really, really common, and then I'll come back to life, and I'll die in a different way.
Oh, they're all different ways.
Yeah, like so, like
I'll
have
like one that are reoccurring type.
No, not like over a long period of time. I did have one dream where I would wake up in my bed in college, and I was in college at the time, so I thought I was awake, and then I would go about my normal day, and then I would see a friend, I'd start a conversation, and then I would notice something would be weird, like a leg of a chair would be skew or something like that, and then my friend would die horribly, and then I'd die horribly, and I'd wake up in my bed again. I'd still be in the dream. And that happened like a dozen times in a row, and to the point where I didn't get out of bed. I would just lay in bed for like 30 minutes. I'm like, am I awake? Yeah, sketchy. Yeah. Dreams are pretty awesome, though.
Oh, yeah.
I have a theory, okay?
All right, what's your theory?
I have a theory that in the near future, we'll have the ability to create like a high-resolution recording of a dream. Like, I'll put on like a helmet or something like that before I go to sleep, or like plug in my brain. And then when I wake up, I'll have like a high definition video of my dream. And then that's going to be like the new social media output. And we're going to know who has the craziest dreams in the world. And we're going to like watch their dream as like a series. Yeah. Like, oh man, what did John dream about last night? I bet it was fucking crazy.
How do you think that would be corrupted? Because I can see it. So what would people do to each other to make people have like weirder dreams?
One of the ways that it would be used badly is that people would start inferring things by the dreams. You know, like if I was having that dream where my friends die, and then the next morning people like check my Instagram and they're like, "Hey, why did I die in your dream?"
Yeah,
yeah.
But does that mean you want to kill me?
Yeah, but then it comes to like a politician's dreams.
Or why did you have sex with my wife? I'm
like,
like, oh god, this is only my dream. I would never do this.
It's like, come on, man, didn't you watch last week? I killed your wife, so you know, don't these things balance out?
Yeah, that means you're a necrophiliac.
Yeah. But then it could get bad if you have like politicians nuking each other in their dreams. That could get messy. Yeah. That could get messy quickly.
Maybe they just need sensors before.
Oh no. How long before they can project advertisements into your dreams, like Futurama?
20 years.
Maybe
20 years.
Probably like 6 months.
They could probably do it now. They just just not ready. The market's not ready.
Exactly. They have to ease us into that kind of stuff.
I always get like woken up. I feel like my dreams always end with like real life sounds. Like say for example, if there's birds chirping, for some reason the dream like I'm walking, I'm looking, something like that, and all of a sudden I finally wake up, I'm like, oh, there's really birds. Or it's like even different sounds. Let's say like, I don't know, maybe a chair squeaking or something like that, where you're like, ee, 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 ee. And like in the dream it would be like a robot, and then I wake up, I'm like, oh, it's just that chair.
I don't usually get that. What I usually get is like where I become too aware that I'm in a dream and then I wake up. But something I get is like if I'm interacting with something physically in a dream, if I'm holding these keys in the dream, I'll wake up and my hand will be in this key position holding the key, and it'll be like this for like 30 seconds. And then I'll try to interact with the key and then realize it's not there, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I'm not holding keys. Oh wait, I'm awake.
I realized it was a while ago. Sexy trips. I realized my arm is like feels just like a boob. Yeah. I remember, or at least with the mouth, because I remember like in the dream, like I was like
sucking on your arm.
Yeah, it's like remember it's like sucking on a boob or something.
Nice.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I forget why one day, but it's like I had moved my arm, and then my arm was just like at my mouth, and I'm like, this feels very familiar.
You wake up.
Where did I feel that? I'm like, oh, in my dreams.
You feel the need to put a nipple on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Have you ever controlled a dream?
I have.
Yeah. For you, I don't know about me. For you, but mine go so far off the rails the moment I get control. Like I can control my dreams very commonly, but I can't control what I do once I get into control. So like, I'll be doing something innocuous, and then I'll kind of recognize that I'm in a dream. Like, oh, this is a dream. I should take advantage. And then I'm like, oh, I should do something amazing. And then I start doing something amazing, and then it just snowballs, and then I wake up because it gets so out of control.
Yeah, for me, usually not like that. Like, I never really get like out of control like that. Usually, it's like all this stuff, and then I feel like very little things, like something very little. Like, say for example, if you're in my dream and you weren't wearing glasses or something. And you should be wearing glasses. This is a dream. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is a dream. And then I kind of just go along with the dream, and then I just change little things. Yeah. Where I'm like, I don't like that. I'm like, that dog's barking a little too loud. I'm like, turn it down a little.
Nice.
Like things like this, where it's like, but I don't really like create a bunch of stuff. Like small things, like, okay, let me just get a car here, or let me move that out of the way, and then I just kind of like go along with the dream.
How popular would it be if there was like a pill that allowed you to flawlessly control your dreams? It'd be the most popular medicine on earth.
Quite popular, and then people, I think, would just addicted.
Yeah.
Where it's
people would never stop sleeping.
Especially, I think,
they're like cats.
People who aren't satisfied with their own life. I
Which
think
most
maybe
people.
that's the thing with like video games. You go like the
or
world
comic
building
books.
and whatnot. Yeah, comics. Yeah, it's like you don't really like your own. Yeah, just escape.
Have you ever listened to Alan Watts?
No.
He talks a lot about dreams, and one of the things he talks about is being able to dilate time in a dream. And what if everyone could control their dreams flawlessly, but without the help of medication? They could just do it naturally. And what if every single night you would sleep for 8 hours, but in that 8 hours, maybe you live 75 years of subjective time? And you did that every single night. How long would you do that before you run out of things to do? And you have to introduce randomness. You have to introduce chance. And how long before even that becomes bored? And your only way of finding interest in this is making yourself forget that you're in a dream.
Yeah, I'm curious. 5 years of time. Are you able to learn things in that dream?
Of course. Do anything you want.
But like, are you able to say, for example, can I learn Chinese for 75 years? And then I wake up.
Speaking Chinese.
Yeah, speaking Chinese.
Maybe not. But I think maybe in a dream you'd fabricate a universe where you speak Chinese. That'd be interesting. It's sort of similar to like simulation theory. You know, if we could simulate human beings, then why would people live in the real world if you could do anything you wanted in the simulation? But then who's running society? Who's keeping the simulators going?
I think immortality is a scary thing.
It is.
I think one good thing about life, you die.
Would you take immortality if it's not complete immortal? Like if you just don't age. You can still get hit by a bus, but you just don't age. Would you take that? I would take it, because I can always just jump in front of a bus.
I don't think I would. Just because I don't think I would want to jump. God, like I don't know. I always just
you can go out in nicer ways than that. Like a opium overdose. I bet is a pretty nice way to go.
Just because, like, I always feel like if I did that, I feel like I'm just like accepting failure. That's the thing. Like,
well, what if you live like 10,000 years? You know, I actually think that we will.
Even then, I still feel like still more I can do.
Nah, but you've read every comic book, you've read every book, you play every instrument, you've been to every part of the world. You've literally done everything. You've got 10,000 children.
Yeah. I think, like, still, I think that was the thing that would be hard for me. Just to accept that, like, alright, I have to kill myself just because I've done everything. And really, that's it. Okay, I did everything. Now life is pointless. And, like, I just have to accept that fact where it's like, I don't really want to accept that fact. Just want to die when
I actually do think that we're going to solve aging as a problem. And I think that at some point in the future, the vast majority of deaths will be suicide. Will be like assisted deaths. Where people they're sick of it. How many thousands of years do you have to live before your boredom overrides your desire to continue living?
I'll tell you that. The average American is bored 131 days a year.
It's a lot of boredom.
It is, yeah. That's the thing. Actually, I don't feel bored ever. That's like wild. I think this is one thing for my mom. Because like when I was very, very young, I said, don't you ever say that. Only boring people are bored. There's so much stuff in the world you can do. Go do something. And like I feel like that always like stuck with me. So I was like, there really is. I'm like, maybe even things that are considered boring, like I don't really consider bored. Like say like reading some article or something like that.
Depends what you're reading.
Depends, yeah. Like
it's like a 1,000-page tome on mathematics. That seems pretty boring. But I remember they did an interview with Charles Manson, and they asked him if he ever gets bored in his cell because they don't allow him to have anything in there. Like I think in the interview he said that they had just taken away his guitar, and he's like, I never get bored. He pointed to his head. He's like, the whole universe is up here. Yeah. But he seemed like a bored guy. he seemed like he was in denial. He's bored. He would love to play some video games, I bet. Or read a comic book.
What video games did they have back then?
Well, when did he's dead, right?
Yeah.
When did he die?
Yeah.
I think he died.
Or I guess I'm thinking like when he first went to jail. I'm like, I forgot like he lived for a while. Yeah. I'm like, for some reason I imagined him like spending like 30 years in jail, but only in 1 year.
Like a montage.
Yeah.
A jail montage.
No.
When did he go to jail? Like the 70s?
Yeah, I think so.
So he probably died in like the 90s, 2000s, something like that. We're just totally guessing. He could have gone to jail in the 1920s. How did he die? Getting punched in the stomach, right?
Yo, that was probably wild.
What a weak way to go, man. You know? Greatest magician of all time, just punched in the stomach.
But it was a bummer. Do you know why?
Why?
Like, why they punched him in the stomach?
Because it was part of his trick, right?
Yeah, that was the main thing. It was like part of his act, so he was able to like control his muscles, like just prepare himself, and then like get anyone to punch him. All right, and then punched him.
Wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, not paying attention. Wasn't ready. But they actually say it may have been a combination of different things as well. Because I can't remember the actual name of the disease, but it was some disease where it's like if you actually get hit so many times, you start. It's like damage to your liver, damage to your.
So it's like the 5-finger death punch, basically.
Yeah, but it wasn't only from that because he's been doing this and doing all these acts for many, many years. So it's just a build up. Yeah, it's just a build up of all this stuff. Yeah. So it's like they were saying that maybe that punch was the one that just like, okay, this is it. That's the one that. It's like, okay, this is it. That was the final straw. He's like, you've been doing this for a while, and that was the final straw. But I know the guy who punched him, he didn't get charged anything.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Seems like it was at least assault.
Yeah. But really, yeah, he didn't. They're saying like, you didn't know. Yeah.
That's back in the day. You could do anything back then.
Yeah.
They didn't even have like.
The thing is wild is like he died on Halloween. And like now, like every year, there's always these seances because Houdini said that whenever he died, he would like to come back because Houdini, he was always very against like fake mediums. He'd always try to like, okay, you're a medium. Okay, you read it. Try to figure out, okay, how did these mediums?
What's their
what
tricks?
was the things? Yeah. So like that was one of his things in life. So like afterwards, he's like, all right, after I die, I'm going to heal. Like I don't know, be spoken through a medium at some point. And I think like his wife tried for like 20 years.
Now there's
finally just like forget it.
Now there's so many mediums running entire businesses based on what Houdini said. I'm speaking to Houdini every day. You could speak to him too for $20.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's a good place to call it. Talking about the death of Houdini and talking to his ghost.
The death of this podcast episode.
Anyway, thank you for being a guest, Kolbe. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you again in the future. Yeah, this has been another episode of podcast, or I keep saying episode of podcast. This has been another episode of Bullshit and Video Games. Thank you all for listening. Do all the good stuff down below. Like, share, subscribe, comment, blah, blah, blah. Check out the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Man I am, ain't the man I dreamed I would be. Mountains rise, so rivers turn, friends pass away. Turns in luck